Greetings everyone and welcome back. My name is Marco and today I want to share with you the second volume of my project, FAE. FAE is a photo and video project inspired by fantasy stories and folklore. Adventurers and lost princesses, elves and dryads, fairies and woodland spirits, wandering haunted halls, creeks and forests. I use vintage and modified lenses to give a soft and distorted look and better portray the feeling of meeting a fae in the wild. The subjects are blurry, out of focus, even hard to recognize, and only occasionally clear and defined. This year I took more creative control over the outfits, even picking some of the dresses and accessories and making sure to always include sheer, iridescent and shiny elements. Later in this video I will tell you how to get access to all the pictures. But now, let's jump right in. Carlos and I have been part of the same fencing club for a number of years. He's a cosplayer and a LARPer, so it was very fitting that he chose to don his armor in an old fort. We are notoriously unlucky with this location, to the point that the last time we were supposed to shoot there, it rained for a month straight, and guess what? It started raining right after we left. With all the gear he was wearing, we knew we had to avoid summer, so we shot at the beginning of May, and even then, with 22 degrees, it was a bit hot for him, especially with all the walking up and down on dirt paths and tall grass, while avoiding the snakes. Don't worry, they're mostly harmless. It doesn't come as a surprise how different it is to shoot videos for this project with a male subject. While a cute girl can just wave around a bit and look pretty, with a guy more planning and storytelling are needed.
Sono là.
Stavo facendo delle riprese.
Andiamo avanti.
Vediamo.
Ma si può scendere di qua?
Carlos wasn't only the first male subject of this project, but also the first to shoot two different characters in the same session, and who knows, maybe we'll go back there and shoot with a full party of adventurers.
Cosa fai? Mi tieni la giacca sopra e quando sei sotto apri e metti la mano come ce l'avevi adesso sull'impugnatura. Così appunto fai vedere sono pronto e sono armato.
Così? Il piede lo vuoi qua o qui sopra?
Va benissimo davanti. Mettiti più o meno per conto che stai camminando al centro e con la spada al centro, scusa. La spada sta al centro e tu sei andato. Vai più avanti, 3-4 passi più avanti. Ok. Metti con la spada. Poi facciamo da qua, quindi facciamo un discorso che stai salendo le scale, quindi se tipo qua fai così e vai su e fuori.
After 4 weeks of constant rain, summer finally came around at the end of May, bringing blue skies and temperatures above 25 degrees. We managed to squeeze 3 people on the same day in the same location, and although we shot at the same time, switching between them, I will keep them separate here. Cristina couldn't make it last year, so I hit her up as soon as I started planning to make sure we could make it happen. And I guess it's also the reason why we decided to go with a more extreme look for her. The water was really cold after all that rain, and apparently Cristina likes it even less than I do, as she could not bear to stand in it for longer than a few seconds. Elena loves water, and just like last year, she jumped straight in and was constantly walking upstream in search of new spots. As I mentioned, the water was really cold, to the point that my feet were getting numb, and unfortunately I wasn't shooting BTS footage while it happened, but I did slip and fell in the water. The lenses I was using got splashed a bit, but somehow I managed to keep the camera dry. This year we ended the shoot at the waterfall, where Elena was planning to get full into the water, and we timed it to when the sun was hitting the spot so that she could dry up.
No, muoviti un po'. Dai. Dai, dai pure.
I've always wanted to include some kind of fairy in the project, but I know very well how problematic wings can be. In fact, one of them immediately started getting limp, and I used the couple clothes back to pin them to Eleonora's clothes, and Cristina pulled out a sewing kit and fixed everything in place. Eleonora made them out of some iridescent material that was the perfect match for the star filter I had acquired specifically for this project. Shooting with 3 people at the same time can be hard, especially keeping track of everything, but it also means that usually there's an extra pair of hands free, and the girls help me out shooting behind the scenes footage. Temperatures were on the rise, and by the end of June they were peaking over 30 degrees, but under the thick vegetation it was just about perfect, and even the mostly shallow water was barely cold.
La posizione carichi prima dalle gambe, vai su. Ok, vai.
Federica decided she wanted to put together a character specifically for this project, and we went back and forth for weeks trying to find the right pieces and figuring out the details for her to craft the outfit. She's kind of obsessed with glitter, so she was a bit too happy when I gave her permission to go crazy with it. That day we also had Fabio helping out and shooting BTS footage.
Ok, meno esagerato.
Va bene.
Guarda un po' avanti, dalla lato avanti.
June ended with a heat wave, and July brought a storm that left behind a suffocating layer of humidity and hazy skies, and the short walk to the spot was enough to get me sweating profusely. We were in a very secluded location, known probably by only a dozen people, which means it was unfortunately kept poorly and somewhat hard to reach, but Katerina was able to make way without issues. Although she is the only model so far who is not also a cosplayer, she did a great job embodying the vibe and spirit of the project, even with a less outlandish outfit. I was a bit worried because the location was very small and some spots were not safe to reach, but we still managed to get a good amount of variation in the shots.
Sempre di 3/4. Esatto,
Sì, intanto potrei andare fino a lì, se non mi arriverà così vediamo come la situazione.
Da qua. Muoviti un po' dietro. Fanno esattamente così, ma hai visto la filo da prima e fai giusto un paio di passi come piccoli, muovendo un po' sotto questo nome, un po' sotto
Ma come fa?
video.
The most important tools in this project are, as always, the lenses, with some that carried over from last year and some new additions. The Pentagon 50mm 1.8 was the most used, both by itself and with filters, as it is versatile and reliable. The Nikon 35-70 with the front element reversed is a staple of the project, but it saw less use than last year. It is by far the weirdest of the bunch. The tiny Fujian 35mm 1.7 came back as well as a wider companion to the Pentagon. The first new addition was the Fujinon 55mm 2.2, a lens that is literally falling apart. I flipped some of the elements around, jammed a piece of cardstock in the aperture, and screwed a scratched up filter in the front to make it look even worse. Lastly, the Mitacon 80-200 4.5. Dirty, with fungus and another cardstock insert, it can produce an effect similar to textured glass. It didn't really have a chance to shine, but I will try again in the future. This year I've also added two special effects filters, a cross screen that creates the sparkles on bright highlights, and a center lens that creates a ghostly double image and softens the edges. You can find videos on each piece of gear in the dedicated playlist. I'll leave a link in the description. This year I've tried to focus even more on vibes rather than shooting textbook pictures, for example by overexposing on purpose. In terms of editing, I've played around with colors a little bit more, while still avoiding removing imperfection and maintaining the character of each lens. Last year, I quickly realized it was better to shoot the video sections with only one lens for each person to achieve a more cohesive final product. So this year, I picked the lens I thought would allow me to better portray each character, or if I didn't have a specific idea, I just asked the models to choose what look they liked the most. For those of you who would like to see all the pictures, support the project, channel, and models, I've put together a PDF zine that will be available to all the members of the channel. In the posts tab here on the channel, you will find a link to a Dropbox folder with the zines, but as I said, it will only be accessible to members of the channel. You can become a member of the channel by clicking on the join button, and prices will vary depending on your countries, but all will grant access to the zine. You can also support the project via the Amazon wishlist linked in the description to help us acquire more accessories for people who would like to participate in the project but might not have the necessary wardrobe. Lastly, I will put links to all the models in the description so you can support them as well. This second year of FAE was unfortunately plagued by bad weather. We started early and we started strong with twice as many people as last year, and all of them ready to raise the bar. But it rained so much. In April, May and July, it rained almost every single day, and August wasn't that great either. In fact, in July, only 4 days didn't register any rain. So we had to keep canceling and postponing, and eventually autumn came. Nevertheless, I am very pleased and satisfied with what we've created this summer, and we are already planning for the next one, with both people you have already seen and more you haven't met yet. This is a project I really care about, but I've always known it is not for everyone, as most of my projects are. So I'm very grateful to all the models who participate and to all of you for making it this far. So, thank you. Well, that is all for today, for this volume of FAE. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments down below. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you for watching. Bye.